The first one is that land transport cannot fully replace maritime capacity, so it's not a replacement. Sea freight moves enormous volumes at low cost, while trucking corridors are slower and more expensive. So while the Oman land route can stabilize supply chains, which is good, it will likely come with higher logistics costs and longer delivery timelines. The second thing, or the second caveat, is that these alternative routes are primarily designed as short to medium term contingency mechanisms. Strategic food reserves across the GCC countries, including Kuwait, are intended to absorb temporary disruptions, buying time while logistics networks adjust. So Oman's readiness to facilitate land transport is a positive and important contingency measure because it creates an alternative supply corridor into the Gulf. But food security ultimately depends on a combination of strategic reserves and diversified sourcing and multiple transport routes, not on any single solution. In other words, Oman's move significantly reduces the immediate risk of disruption, which is good. But it does not eliminate the broader economic pressure, such as higher transport costs, longer supply chains, and what have you, which typically accompany geopolitical crises in major maritime choke points.
Now let's move to the control center at the Ministry of Public Works, where we have our correspondent Mohammed Al-Awadi. Mohammed, what exactly is the role of this control center during this period of national alert or regional unrest? There is a connection failure with Mohammed. We'll try to get him back, but let me take a break and we'll try again.
الدفاع المدني على استعداد تام وجاهزية عالية، ونعمل وفق خطط مدروسة ومحدثة باستمرار لمواجهة أي طارئ، ونتابع مع الجهات الحكومية كل ما يخص احتياجاتها لضمان استمرار نظام سير العمل وعجلة الإنتاج وسير الحياة الطبيعية، ونقول للجميع سلامتكم أولويتنا.
Let's try this again. We'll go to the control center at the Ministry of Public Works, where we have Mohammed Al-Awadi. Mohammed Al-Awadi, can you hear me?
Yes, Abdurrahman, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Mohammed, what exactly is the role of the control center during periods of national alert or regional unrest?
The role of the this control room is the treatment of wastewater, which are filled in the reservoirs here, which serves the irrigation and other purposes in Kuwait, as well as monitoring the pumps, the water pumps that are connected to the sewage network in Kuwait. I was a witness of the level of professionalism and high level of alert. All the technical and engineering staff are present, monitoring the screens, ensuring the level with an increased level of alertness and preparedness for any emergency. That, alhamdulillah, so far there has been no alerts, but they are ready for any operational technical issues that may arise.
Mohammed, what is has the ministry reviewed contingency plans for protecting crucial infrastructure such as bridges, highway, or even coastal facilities?
Yes, the command center here is solely for the water treatments, but as per the spokesperson, he did mention that all plans for rapid response are being implemented. There is a higher level of alert and preparedness. Precautionary measures are in place to monitor any issues that may arise across the infrastructure and across the road network, as well as the drainage and water supply networks.
Mohammed Al-Awadi, we appreciate you for this valuable input. Let me take another break and we'll continue with this live coverage.
في ظل الأوضاع الراهنة معكم اليوم وزارة التجارة والصناعة المعنية في ملف الأمن الغذائي. اليوم نطمنكم بأن الوضع التمويني مستقر تماما ولا يوجد أي نقص في المواد الغذائية الأساسية. كذلك حركة الأسواق طبيعية والسلع متوفرة في نقاط البيع والمخازن بشكل منتظم. إنتاج المياه في المصانع المحلية مستمر على مدار الساعة لضمان تلبية احتياجات الجميع. سلاسل الإمداد تعمل بشكل طبيعي وسلس ولا توجد أي عوائق في تدفق السلع إلى الأسواق، كما أن الأسواق المركزية وجميع نقاط البيع تعمل بشكل طبيعي، والجمعيات التعاونية تواصل نشاطها المعتاد دون أي تأثير. ونؤكد على الجاهزية الكاملة لخطط الطوارئ مع استمرار فرق الرقابة التجارية في متابعة الأسواق ميدانيا بشكل يومي لضمان استقرار الأسعار وتوفر السلع الأساسية فيها. لذلك اليوم احنا نطمنكم ونبشركم بأن الأمور طيبة إن شاء الله ويحافظ الله.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to our live coverage of the breaking news and update from Kuwait and around the region. Now shifting to a broader economic outlook, including tourism and investors' uncertainty. Political and economic analyst Dr. Nasser Al-Hajri gave us an insight on the impact of the ongoing conflict on the state of Kuwait and the GCC in regards to oil prices and how it will further affect global economy.
First of all, thank you for this interview. And secondly, regarding your question about the impact of this war in Kuwait, GCC, and the oil prices and the global economy, let's start with the oil prices and the GCC economies. The Gulf region is in the center of the global oil supply. So any military conflict there has immediate effects, especially that we know that 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. And the conflict has caused oil price to go up to $120 per barrel before fluctuating after some political statements. So the impact on GCC, including Kuwait, has two sides, positive side and negative side. On the positive side, higher oil prices increase the government revenues for oil exporting states like Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE. But on the negative side, export disruption reduce the physical shipments, or the shipment insurance and tanker costs will rise dramatically. Also, the infrastructure, refineries, LNG terminals will become a military target. So if the Strait of Hormuz closes or become unsafe, global oil market could face catastrophic consequences. Regarding the impact on the global economy, the main transmission channel is energy prices. So higher oil prices will lead to global inflation, higher transportation and aviation costs. It will increase the manufacturing cost and also will lower economic growth. But also it will have some other effects on the industries like airline, shipping, chemicals, agriculture, or automotive. So this is why the G7 is considering releasing emergency oil reserve to stabilize the market. Well, the definition of force majeure is a legal clause in contracts allowing companies or governments to suspend contractual obligations due to extraordinary events beyond their control. Examples like war, natural disaster, blocked shipping routes, sanctions, terror attacks. So when a companies or a country declare a force majeure, this means that the companies can temporarily stop deliveries without being considered in a breach of a contract. So force majeure will protect the companies from contract penalties, legal disputes, compensation claims, financial liability. So it is essential, tells the buyer, we cannot deliver because of a war or a safety risk. So once the situation is stabilized, contracts will resume normally. Well, Kuwait faces a structural problem. Almost all of its oil export must pass through the Strait of Hormuz, but recent measures are including production cut. Kuwait Oil Company reduced the crude oil production and the refinery supply as a precaution due to shipping risk, but the force majeure declaration allows Kuwait to temporarily suspend the export and delay shipments. Also, they can renegotiate the delivery schedule. Reports mention a near absence of vessels willing to enter the Gulf due to missile threats, naval tension, insurance risk. But unlike Saudi Arabia or UAE, Kuwait has limited pipelines route bypassing Hormuz, making it very, very difficult to supply to the market at the moment. Kuwait has recently been trying to diversify its economy through through different areas like cultural, tourism, events, entertainment zones, infrastructure projects. But war-related tensions affect tourism in several ways. One of them is the perception of regional instability. Like international tourists often view the Middle East as one risk zone, meaning conflict anywhere nearby can reduce travel demand. Also, the aviation cost. Rising oil prices increase airfare globally. Example, airlines are already raising tickets prices due to the fuel cost. Another point is the insurance and security cost. Events, conferences, tourism projects may face a higher security cost and also increase the travel insurance. If we look at it from a different area, the investor caution. Tourist investors may temporarily delay their projects until the geopolitical outlook become clearer. But the good thing is that the impact of this is usually short-term unless the conflict expands regionally. Well, financial markets react strongly to political statements during war. For example, oil price initially goes high, and then after some statements suggesting that the conflict might end, prices fell sharply. So this happened because investor price and risk scenarios. Let's look at it as a market reaction. I think oil price fluctuating, prices swing rapidly, depend on military escalation and diplomatic negotiations and some shipping conditions. From stock market, investors move their money into gold, energy stocks, defense stocks, and away from airline shipping and tourism. Energy companies benefited from this war, actually. Oil companies, LNG, energy trading often see higher profits when prices rise. So for Kuwait specifically, the Strait of Hormuz checkpoint remains the single biggest weak point in its economy security.
تؤكد جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي جاهزيتها للاستجابة للطوارئ والكوارث في ظل الأوضاع الجيوسياسية الحاصلة في المنطقة. جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي تعمل من ضمن منظومة إنسانية متكاملة مع مؤسسات دولة الكويت من حيث الاستجابة السريعة وتجهيز المتطوعين من ضمن أفرقة مختلفة للاستجابة للطوارئ في سرعة قصوى. يعد متطوعين جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي من المتطوعين اللي تم تدريبهم مكثفاً في الإسعافات الأولية والاستجابة للكوارث والاستجابة الميدانية. تؤكد جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي جاهزيتها الميدانية ورفع جاهزيتها من حيث الاستجابة للطوارئ في حالات اللي يتم ندائها. بالنسبة للمخزون الاستراتيجي لجمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي فإحنا على أتم الاستعداد للاستجابة في حال النداء من قبل مؤسسات حكومة دولة الكويت.
العامة للدفاع المدني على استعداد تام وجاهزية عالية، ونعمل وفق خطط مدروسة ومحدثة باستمرار لمواجهة أي طارئ، ونتابع مع الجهات الحكومية كل ما يخص احتياجاتها لضمان استمرار نظام سير العمل وعجلة الإنتاج وسير الحياة الطبيعية، ونقول للجميع سلامتكم أولويتنا.
الحرس الوطني قادة وقوات دائما على استعداد وجاهزية تامة لحماية الوطن بالتعاون مع زملاء السلاح في وزارتي الدفاع والداخلية وقوة الإطفاء العام، وتقديم الدعم والإسناد لكافة جهات الدولة خاصة في أوقات الأزمات والطوارئ. ونسأل الله أن يحفظ وطننا الكويت من كل مكروه في ظل قيادته الرشيدة.
تؤكد وزارة الكهرباء والماء والطاقة المتجددة بأن عمليات توليد الطاقة الكهربائية وتحلية المياه تسير وفق الخطط التشغيلية المعتادة، وتؤكد الوزارة على جاهزيتها التامة للتعامل مع أي طارئ من خلال خطط متكاملة تتضمن الإجراءات الواجب اتباعها لاستمرارية الكهرباء والماء. وتوفر لدى الوزارة كفاءات وطنية مؤهلة وعلى أعلى درجات الاستعداد لتفعيل هذه الخطط متى ما دعت الحاجة. والمخزون الاستراتيجي من المياه العذبة في البلاد في ازدياد، إلى جانب توفر مخزون من المياه الجوفية، مما يعزز قدرة المنظومة الوطنية على الصمود والتعامل مع مختلف الظروف.
To ensure the safety of the people in the state of Kuwait, government bodies and a national institution have taken precautionary measures to protect all, maintain continuity of service and assist people affected by travel disruption. The Ministry of Education and Higher Education have confirmed that schools, Universities and academic institutions across Kuwait continue to operate without disruption. Officials have reassured students, parents, and educational staff that appropriate safety protocols are in place to ensure safety within educational environments and emphasized the importance of awareness and preparedness, encouraging institutions to follow official safety guidelines when necessary. At the same time, the Civil Service Commission introduced workforce measures to address travel disruptions caused by regional airspace closures. Government employees who were stranded outside Kuwait due to the cancelled flights or restricted airspace were temporarily exempted from work requirements until they are able to return. The Commission clarified that the exemption period would be reviewed by supervisors and administrative department once the employees are able to travel back to the country. Efforts to bring citizens back safely have also involved national aviation coordination, including operation of Kuwait Airways and other transport arrangements under the supervision of Kuwaiti authorities. These efforts are part of a broader government evacuation and repatriation operation to ensure the safety of Kuwaiti nationals abroad. Just now, dear viewers, this brings us to the end of this live coverage for tonight. We have been following the ongoing conflict between Iran, the United States, and the Israeli occupation, and examining its growing repercussions and spillover over the Middle East. Throughout the coverage, we highlight the state of Kuwait's extensive efforts to contain the effects of this conflict, from security and civil preparedness to coordinated action across the governmental institution. Despite the challenges facing the region, Kuwait has demonstrated resilience and stability, thanks to the dedication of its institution and the unity of its people. As tensions continue across the region and the conflict evolves, Kuwait remains vigilant, committed to protecting its security, safeguarding its citizens and residents, and maintaining stability in a turbulent time in the Middle East. Thank you for joining us. Be safe.
قوة الإطفاء العام على استعداد تام وجاهزية للتعامل مع أي طارئ على مدار الساعة من خلال مراكزها البرية والبحرية والمطارات، ونحن نعمل وفق خطط طوارئ متكاملة بتجهيزات متطورة وكوادر مدربة على أعلى مستوى لضمان سرعة الاستجابة وكفاءة التعامل مع مختلف البلاغات سواء كانت خطرة أو بسيطة. وهذا الاستعداد والجاهزية لدينا مستمرة على مدار العام حفاظاً على سلامة الأرواح والممتلكات وتحقيق الأمن المجتمعي.
بتوجيهات مباشرة ومتابعة حثيثة ومتواصلة من قبل مجلس الوزراء ووزيرة الشؤون الاجتماعية الدكتورة أمثال الحويلة، سارعت وزارة الشؤون إلى وضع الخطط المسبقة التي تهدف من خلالها إلى المحافظة على مستويات المخزون الاستراتيجي من السلع المواد الغذائية والاستهلاكية، ولضمان سلاسة وسهولة تدفقها إلى الأسواق التعاونية. قامت وزارة الشؤون ممثلة بقطاع التعاون بتشكيل 6 فرق ميدانية بواقع فريق لكل محافظة، وذلك للمتابعة اليومية للتأكد من كفاية المخزون الاستراتيجي. إن هذا العمل هو ثمرة تنسيق وتخطيط مسبق مع جهات الدولة المختصة التي وضعت لضمان استدامة الأمن الغذائي في مختلف الأوقات، ودامت الكويت بحفظ الله ورعايته.